Good evening everyone, welcome to Tom Plays Civilization 6 for absolute beginners. Just going to dive into the game and play Civilization Roulette. Okay, so we've got the German Empire, Frederick Barbarossa. Barbarossa just means red beard as far as I know, which is going to be interesting because he is primarily a military leader. So this screen's very important. This basically tells you which of the 4 ways to win the game you should be focusing on. Now you can never let your military get too low anyway, but yeah, he gets an additional military policy slot. He gets +7 combat strength when attacking city-states. Cities can build 1 more district than usual, so he's actually quite good for building cities as well, and he's got a unique naval unit when we get to that level of technology, and he has a unique district, which is not one I know about. So this is going to be interesting. I also think that the military victory is the one I'm personally weakest on in Civilization. So hey, this might turn out to be a disaster. Okay, so we're on our first screen. So nice and simple, we've got this little isometric view. The terrain is randomly generated in the basic game, which is great because it means we genuinely don't know what kind of world we're dealing with here. To look around, you actually left click and sort of drag yourself around the map, which is something you get used to. We started with a warrior unit. You select them by clicking on the little flag icon, and a settler unit. Now usually with a settler unit you want to just found the city as soon as possible. Civilization revolves around cities. In the early game, ideally we want to build as many settlers as we can and build as many cities as we can, but we have to kind of weigh that up against our need for military units. And also exploration. There are great benefits to be gained by being the first to discover things. So, but unless there's some particular reason you want to move to another spot, which I don't think there is. In fact, this is a recommended spot. You see, we've got this little advisor says why these are great places to build cities. That one not so much as the other 2, so we should definitely just found the city immediately. Now the warriors, normally I would like to have a military unit in the city, but because we've only got 1 unit, I'm actually going to send these guys exploring, so you can sort of see the boundary of where they can move to in 1 turn. You can move them beyond that. It can be a little risky. Okay, so we've discovered the sea already. So looking around, you can see there's a bunch of special little icons. These are resources. If you can develop these, you do gain some pretty good benefits, so they are worth developing, but you need a builder unit to develop them. You also often need a type of technology in order to develop them. So technology's mapped up here. We've also got, I think new to Civ 6, we've got civics. So you actually start by trying to develop the code of laws civic. So that will basically fire on its own. The development of technology and civics is up here. It says how much culture per turn, which goes towards civics, how much science per turn, which goes towards cities. There's also how much religion we get per turn, and how much money we have, and how much we get per turn. There is also this with envoys, which we will look at a bit later. But to start with, we're looking at the city. So you can get into the city by clicking on the title. This is now our capital city. Tells us an awful lot of things about it, but we've also got these alerts down at the bottom right. So the big alert here, it wants us to choose production. I don't think it'll actually let us end the turn until we've done it. Civilization is turn based, so we can take all the time we want over this. But choose production. So this is very important. Every city will always be producing something. You can see, because we've got the advisor turned on, there's a little advisor's head recommending certain things to build. Now to me, the first thing we should be building is a scout, so that we can basically check out the world around us and get any benefits that are out there waiting for us. Other options, the monument is the only actual building we can produce right now, and it will give us additional culture. It will take 12 turns to build, which is quite a lot. It's the most expensive of the units we can currently make. Not one I'm likely to go for, but it would allow us to get the civics faster, so it gives us an advantage in that respect. A builder would be useful because it would allow us to develop this wheat resource, but at the moment, because there aren't many things we can develop, it's probably not worth it. We're stuck within the boundaries of our city at the moment, so probably not worth it. A slinger is a military unit, a range unit, which I would probably use to defend the city, so we will build one in a bit. A warrior we already have one of, which will be most useful for attacking people. A settler we currently can't build because it takes a population point off your city, which at the moment is 1. So that will grow on its own depending on how much food we have, but we can't currently build another settler. So to me, a scout is the best choice. It'll be built in 6 turns. You can see we're building it, and there's 6 turns until completion. You can also see that we've got a current defense of 13 on the city, so even though we don't have any military units there, it does have some ability to defend itself. Okay, so another alert we have is to choose research. We must decide what to research. You'll see that 3 of these have got a time to research of 9 turns, 2 have 18. For 2 with 18, it's possible to halve the time you need by either finding a natural wonder, which is something we need a scout for, or at least someone to explore, and sailing. If we found a city on the coast, we also get half off that. So what we should probably do is pick one of the 3 that don't have any benefits to doing something first, because we should be trying to achieve these if we can. Okay, so they're recommending pottery or mining. I do see the point. Like, mining would allow us to improve the mercury resource. I'm not sure what pottery would give us right now. Oh, allows harvesting of wheat, so we do need it for wheat. So let's do pottery first. And then it's flashing up next turn. There's, in theory, nothing else we need to do. Okay, so we're going to... So if you do want to go beyond the boundary, you can just click outside it, and you'll see that they'll just take a couple of turns. If I actually choose them, you can actually see that they're part way through a move. There's not a huge amount to do in the early game. We're literally just moving this 1 unit around, searching for any resources or other specials that will give us advantages. Nope. Okay, interesting. So this is, I think, a barbarian scout. It's generally worth getting into fights because you will gain experience, your units will improve. So we're definitely going to attack them. It does actually tell us down here whether we're likely to win or not. So in this case, we're looking at a major victory. Well worth doing. Scouts aren't really military units, although they can fight. So you can see we've done them considerable damage. We've also taken some damage. I don't know if they will run away. No, they won't. Okay, so we've made our own scout. Scouts actually gain experience just by exploring, which is unusual. The warriors and most military units do have to fight. Okay, so we're going to send our scout in a completely different direction to the warrior. But we need to remember that we don't necessarily want to get into a fight with a scout. So we've now got a scout to explore, and we also have choose production again. We still can't build a settler. Now to me, the next thing I would build, they're recommending a monument. I would actually probably go for a slinger next, just to give us a bit of extra defense. Even though we do have a warrior, I wouldn't mind using the warrior to attack barbarians. There we go. scout exploring. Find the world around us. So yeah, in the early game, as well as needing to make settlers as much as possible. Okay, now we're quite badly injured. So down at the warrior, there's an option to fortify until healed. So I'm just going to select that. Yeah, in the early game, as well as making settlers, you'll find that you spend quite a lot of time fighting barbarians, which is a great way to build up the experience of your units. You also gain some money if you take one of their settlements. So it's well worth fighting them, but it's also a danger. They can attack your cities. So you do need military units for them, as well as for any other nations we meet, which we will meet soon. The world isn't that big. Okay, we've also played a little tune. We've also found a tribal village. So these are friendly, so you literally just need to move any unit onto them. So the scout is fine for this. The computer will also go for these as soon as it sees them. Basically, as soon as you find these, you must move on to them. You will get a benefit from doing so. And we have discovered pottery. So, choose research. We haven't made any new discoveries. We have a couple of other options, but again, they're 18, so I'm going to go for mining next, because once we've got mining, we're almost in a position to make 3 improvements. Each builder by default can make 3 improvements before they disappear. And usually you want to make improvements on sites with special resources. So if I build mining, I don't know if you've spotted this, by the way, but our city has actually grown. The boundaries have moved to encompass this wheat. I suspect the next growth will encompass the mercury, so we will be able to make use of them in the city. So it's all good. So this scout needs to go directly for this village. If you do not grab these as soon as you can, the other computer players will. It's very important to get them. It's the whole reason we have scouts, really. Okay, so we have moved on to the village and we have gained a boost towards our knowledge of astrology, which is great. We could also boost that, I think, by founding a city on the coast. Okay, so city-states. So this is a new civilization, kind of, but they're not actually another player. They call them a city-state. And these are people that you can make friends with or conquer. They never found new cities, so Leventa will always just be Leventa. They'll never expand. The other little thing we have with them is, in order to make friends with them, we need envoys, which I believe we keep track of here. So we gain 100 influence points, we'll gain an envoy. And you can keep track of your city-states in this screen here. So we currently have an envoy, which I suspect we got because we were the first to discover them. And because these are kind of a faith one, the white ones I think are faith, religious, we're actually gaining 2 faith in our capital just for having an envoy of this city-state. If we can gain 3 envoys, we'll gain 2 faith in every holy site district, so it's a better bonus. And also, if you have enough envoys, you become the suzerain, which, as well as bonuses, tends to mean that they will go to war with us. They're, I suppose, a little like vassals in EU4. So the final thing about them is that they also give us quests. So if they often come with these quests, and they'll often change the quests. If we fulfill this quest, we get a free envoy. So train a spearman. Nice and simple. The slight problem we have here is that we have bonuses to attacking city-states rather than making friends with them. So I need to make a decision. I actually quite like making friends with them and becoming a suzerain, but Frederick Barbarossa of the Germans has got a benefit designed around conquering them. Now, I assume in conquering them, I would be able to take their city for my own, so it'd be a good way to expand. And I have a huge advantage in doing that. So possibly I shouldn't be worrying too much about envoys. It does actually say that we've gained an envoy because we're the first civilization to discover them. So, yeah, something to think about. Maybe I should be sending my warrior down rather than worrying about training a spearman to get a new envoy. Okay, so that sound effect is we discovered a new barbarian outpost, which is here. We can get money if we conquer them. So, in any case, I don't want my scout to go near them, so I'm going to send them off in the other direction. But I might consider bringing my warrior down to attack that outpost. I think that's a village. Yes, we found another village. It's brilliant. I don't think city-states can claim villages, but I may be wrong. Okay, so we have a slinger. Alright, I'm actually going to ignore the outpost for now and head up to attack this scout, hopefully with my warrior as well. Alright, let's make a beeline into the village. We have gained... Oh, we've discovered a continent. I did not realise. Apparently this is a different continent to this one. So we've gained a boost towards foreign trade, which is probably a civic. And I think we gained a population for discovering the village, which is brilliant. We've also discovered another city-state. Wonderful. Well, it looks like someone else had discovered them first. We didn't get a free envoy, so there's probably another civilization around here. They have given us a quest to trigger a Eureka for a wheel. So I think that's the benefit that you get towards a new technology. So if we're looking at researching the wheel, we get 2 benefits if we trigger a Eureka. And these guys would actually make better friends for us because they're military. We shall have to see. Yep, discovered a new continent. Right, so choose production. So, we built a slinger. Well, now we've got extra production, we could build a settler, which I think we should do. So we can move towards building a new city. Because so much of civilization depends on cities, it really is massively worth building as many cities as you possibly can. Okay, the slinger is actually a ranged unit. So we've got this option for ranged attack, which has the advantage that your enemy can't fight back. Okay. Discovered another barbarian outpost down here. You'll notice, by the way, the areas of your map that aren't currently in range get sort of greyed out. That means that all you've got is what you remember was there. We're not seeing what's currently there, we're seeing what was there last time we looked. It's quite a nice feature, in all honesty. It's a bit more realistic. It even looks like an old-fashioned map. Ah, wonderful, we've discovered a code of laws. So we now have policies. Right. So, normally, this would be a straight choice at the beginning. We would have 1 military policy, 1 economic policy, and we'd get to choose one of each. Because we're the Germans, we can actually have both for military policies, which is brilliant. So we get a plus for fighting barbarians, which will be very helpful, and we get double experience for our scouts. Okay. The choice for economics a little bit less certain. This only gives benefits in the capital, but you get faith and gold. This gives production benefits in all cities. You do get a chance to change these reasonably often every time you discover a civic. So I think at the moment, because we only got the capital, it makes a lot of sense to go for God King. Also, we may want to make a religion. I'd normally only go for this at the beginning of the game if I was intending to ignore religion altogether, which can be good. It's a risky but bold choice. It's like you don't have to spend any resources worrying about religious buildings, but it does mean that if someone tries to win the game with religion, you have no way to stop them. Basically. I suppose you could attack them, so we could try that, but on the whole, it's often worth making your own religion just to be able to keep them under control. Any nations that are trying to win with religion. I suppose that's one of the things with civilization. you don't just have to think about the way you're going to win, you have to think about how the other players are going to win and how you're going to stop them from winning. So yeah, I think I probably will try to found a religion, so we'll probably stick with this one for a while. Yes, let's stick with that. Brilliant. So we're going to need to choose a new civic. Now we have Code of Laws. And we've actually, because we discovered a second continent, we have a boost towards foreign trade. So it's only going to take 12 turns, not 24. So we should definitely go for that one as a preference. And note, probably didn't stay on it long enough, but we need to improve our resources in order to get a boost towards the other option. So we should make a builder as our next unit, I would say. Alright, let's cross the river. I'm fairly sure we're going to meet another civilization very soon. Aha! Barbarian outpost with spearmen. I'd like to think my warrior can handle them individually. Now we've got the policy that gives us an advantage against barbarians. But apparently it's a stalemate. So I'll still attack them. They probably get an advantage for having spearmen, who I think are a little more advanced than warriors, and also they're fortified. It makes up for them being barbarians. Queen Victoria. So this is our first major civilization, our first enemy player. I'm quite inclined to go peaceful to start with, I have to say. This is the second option. I think this allows us to find out where their capital city is and vice versa. But I think I will go friendly for now. We've gained a boost towards writing, so wasn't much point picking writing until we met another player. So we now have a boost towards astrology. I don't know if we can get a second boost for founding a city on the coast. Quite interested in that as a concept. I might go for it anyway, simply because we can make a head start on religion. Okay. Right. Okay, I believe promoting a unit as well as giving them benefits will also heal them a little. So I'm going to promote them. So this is +7 combat strength versus everyone, and this is +10 combat strength, but only when defending against ranged attacks. At the moment, this is more useful. And yes, we've gained some health, so we can carry on attacking with an advantage next turn. Scouts, yep, let's go around. I think we've met another player. I think this is Tomiris of the Scythians. Yes. Gonna go friendly again for now. So she's another military power. The English, oddly enough, tend to play best for culture. Ooh, nice. Trade delegation. Delegation is most welcome, thank you very much. I should send one back. Ooh. I made a slinger. Right, I'm going to attack the slinger. In theory, the warrior should be more powerful than the slinger, plus they're now promoted. And I have another slinger coming up behind them. Yeah, London I would normally play for cultural victory rather than military, although they are quite militarily strong. Tomiris has got military advantages. In a perfect world, I suppose the English and the Scythians would attack each other. But I am really going to have to gear my own military up. Okay, let's try and take the outpost. So that, I believe, has, as well as giving us a boost towards military tech tradition, which I think is a civic, I think it also gave us 50 gold. I'm going to do a ranged attack on these guys. And we've killed them. Killing an enemy with a slinger gives us a boost to archery, which is brilliant. And because we've been fighting barbarians a lot, we've gained a boost to bronze working. So you see why it's useful to be sending warriors and slingers out into the field, as well as exploring in the same way scouts do, so you can find villages. Fighting barbarians does give you benefits. I'll probably bring the slinger home now. I was partly intentionally going for that bonus for killing someone with a slinger. Bit of a cheat because I was already aware of it. Right, so delegations. We have been gaining money and I haven't been doing anything with it. I'm going to send a delegation to each of the other players to improve our relations with them. So it doesn't cost a huge amount, and I don't particularly mind having friendly relations with people for now. And imagine the wars will start up soon enough. And I haven't really had a chance to build up military power. Barbarians are oh, I see. Yeah, Barbarian Scout has found our city. Right, so I'm going to move these units back before healing them. Okay, so I'm guessing we have now got enough faith to choose a pantheon. So this is the precursor to choosing a religion. You always get one of these. They're quite situational. They tend to depend mostly on the terrain that you have around you. So Dance of the Aurora is only useful if you have tundra tiles nearby. Desert tiles, so desert folklore. There's a few like this. There are others that just give you bonuses, so this is a bonus to wonders. We haven't really done wonders. Divine Spark is quite good. We haven't really covered great people, but gaining pluses to them is never a bad thing. Culture from Pastures, we might be eligible for that one. I tend to find a lot of the ones I like best are down at the bottom. So we have City Patron Goddess. So districts are improvements you build in cities, and in effect with this one we'll always gain a bonus towards the first district we build, which does match quite well with Barbarossa Frederick, because one of his bonuses is an extra district. Okay, religious settlements. As you probably noticed, we've gradually been getting our border expanding. See, we've now got Mercury within our borders, so this makes that happen faster. Fertility rates will make the actual population grow faster. Fertility rates, sorry. God of War, possibly less useful. It gives you extra faith if you're defending, I think, within 8 tiles of a holy site, unless that's not just our holy sites. I haven't actually looked that up. Initiation rites, I think that's a bit situational. You don't get as many barbarian outposts later on, but it could give us a big boost to faith to start with. God of the Forge, ancient and classical military units. Now that might actually be very good for us, because we need to be a military power. It's just whether one of the others might help us get there better. The whole thing with the districts, the expansion, the extra fertility. But on the other hand, military unit production, I mean, that's quite fits in well. Only works up until the classical era though. I'm wondering if we actually whether we'd actually gain these for longer. I'll tell you what, seeing as we're going military, let's do God of the Forge. It's not one I tend to do very often. And we've progressed towards mysticism, which is great. Let's keep expanding south. She's also sent a delegation. So we're all happy friends. So one thing, one of the less good things about civilization tends to be the diplomacy. You can pretty much assume that people are going to attack you. It's going to happen. There are limitations. I might just fortify for them. They will heal as well, but I'm probably going to leave the slingers in the city. Egypt. Cleopatra. So yeah, there are limits to what you can do with diplomacy, and very difficult to, play a genuinely peaceful game. People are going to attack us. This is all going to explode into a riot of fighting. So although I'm being relatively friendly right now when everyone else is, it's not going to last. It's really just never going to last. We can now create districts. Wonderful, because we've discovered astrology. I'm going to send my explorer over the river because I don't particularly want to fight barbarians. Right, so we've got bronze working, which will give us encampments. That is a good one. This is a more military technology. Is there anything else we need? Well, we also have animal husbandry, but I actually can't see any animals nearby. So bronze working it is, I think. And we've built a settler. Okay. So, settler units. When you choose a settler, you actually get a slightly different screen which shows you places you can't settle in red, places you can settle just about in grey, and places that are good to settle in green. Now the interesting thing about them is that one of the things that does work with diplomacy is that you can't settle too close to another civilization or even another city-state. So it's often a better idea to kind of move your cities towards them while you still can. It's almost like kind of grabbing free real estate before everyone else does. Now before I actually choose somewhere to move, I'm just going to move these guys into the same place. Civilization doesn't generally allow your military units to occupy the same place. I think they often can't even pass each other, even though that doesn't make a lot of sense. But the settlers aren't a military unit. You really shouldn't leave them alone. If you do, anyone, including barbarians, will just take them, including so-called friendly nations. I mean, it might break your alliance, but they're not going to care. So what you can do is you can choose to make an escort formation. So they're now connected to my warriors, and they should be safe from easily being taken over. I'm a bit upset that I can't yet heal the warrior. I don't really want to hold the settler up. So I'm just going to choose production, and we're definitely doing a builder this time. We have got our first wonder as an option. These can be extremely useful if you can build them, but they take a very long time to build, and at the moment I'm not keen. I need a builder. It's going to give us a benefit to our technology, or possibly to a civic. I think it's a civic. So I want a builder to improve these 3 squares as soon as possible. Our settler, I think, let us move them to here. So 2. We've found another city-state, and we've gained a boost towards political philosophy, which is nice. So this city-state also wants us to train a spearman, just like Laventa did. So actually, once we discover bronze working, we will have that option, so we could maybe fulfill both of those in one go, which would be nice. Completed a new civic. So you see, now we complete a civic and we get the option to change policies. Doing it at another time will generally cause you to, I think, lose something. Sorry, not entirely sure what, but generally you only want to do it when you've just discovered a civic, if you possibly can. I don't think any of these are really worth trading in the ones we've got, so I think I'll leave those as they are. But we're now going to need to work towards... Right, we're not going to work towards craftsmanship yet, because we haven't improved 3 tiles, that's what I want the builder for. But we can work towards mysticism, because we've founded a pantheon. Which is brilliant. And we now have increased trade route capacity, which is something else we haven't yet covered. New barbarian outpost, that's fine, that's beyond London. Not going to have any issues there. Oh, darn. Right, this isn't good, and we're probably going to get attacked. Hopefully not killed, we're just going to have to run away as soon as we can. At least we got a promotion, so that should help us heal quickly. Just head over here. Ideally I'd like to get... Oh, brilliant. So that's Egyptian slingers, so hopefully they will fight the barbarians for me. Right, are there any better places to settle? Well, they're actually saying that might be a better place to settle, although it's a little close to the city-state. Why do they like it? Resources, new resources. Fresh... But wait, are we not next to a river here? I would have said this was better. I suppose it's a better land grab if we're further away from our capital city. But it kind of depends on how big we're expecting to get. I think we should just found this one. We've done something that Victoria doesn't like. Good start. And we don't actually know why. So, yeah, that's a thing in diplomacy. People have things which upset them, and you don't always get told what they are unless you have a good enough relationship with them. Okay, there's a village. I was going to heal, but village takes precedence. Okay, so right, so standard practice certainly for me is to build a slinger or preferably an archer in every new city. First thing I do, and that'll free my warrior up to start attacking barbarians, which I am going to need pretty shortly. Okay, change of plan, straight for the village. That's given us 20 faith. Wasn't that obvious? You could just see the faith coming off there. We're about to be attacked, but I think we'll be okay. However, no, I'm going to fortify those warriors. Of course. Right. You guys need a promotion. We've got faster movement in woods, faster movement on hills. I haven't seen that many woods. I'm going to go with hills. Doesn't really matter. And our warrior, I think, should perhaps try to attack these guys before they can attract barbarians. This little exclamation mark here basically means they're going to tell their friends to come and attack this city. So we'll see if we can stop that. But I think that's probably it for today. So hopefully that gives an idea of how Civ 6 plays. There is a lot more to it, and it will get a lot more interesting and complicated as we build more cities and everyone else does. But for now, I think we're doing not too badly, hopefully. We're on our way to becoming civilized. So yeah, I'll see you next time.